This is breaking down the Bible, the Hebrew Scriptures. Okay, guys, this is going to be a quick rundown for 2024 Passover and 2024 New Year's, because getting a lot of questions and a lot of confusion out there in the Hebrew community about when to take Passover, when is the New Year's. So what you need to understand, quite frankly, is that the information that's been associated with us has been stolen. So the tools that I'm going to show you today are just simply mathematical process on the basis of 29.95 of how they used to calculate the lunar calendar. Okay, they didn't perfect it. They simply just automated it. When people used to have to go out there and watch the moon and watch different signs and times, they actually had to get out there and go look. So I know it's been a while, but this has been placed upon me to give you guys some edification and clarification. So long story short, this will be the first upload for Yahudim Ministries on the Yahudim Ministries YouTube account. Of course, we got Global Chat Daddy, and then we have Global Search Daddy and Global Tube Daddy. So we just want to make sure here that you guys get the proper information and that it's being associated, so you can understand, no more confusion. You can use the tools and calculate the new year, which starts off the whole feast day seasons. And in addition to that, we're going to go through some scriptures so you can identify when is the new moon, when does Passover start, and the rest of the feast days. All right, let's get started. Everything that's dealing with Yah's law is about his court and his law and his ways. You should be Yah's servant, and it's Yah's light. Okay, this is Yahudim Ministries. Also, we'll be in joining with the Officer Wolfline. This is breaking down the Bible, the Hebrew Scriptures. So, what are the actual Hebrew question and answers for today? Well, 2024 New Year's and Passover. What's so hard about it? The tools I'm going to show you today are going to give you the ability to calculate it yourself and just follow the numbers. It's just that simple. And 2025 will give you a preview of that as well, so you can see what 2025 looks like. So the book of Genesis, we know better sheath where it starts. Yah El Elohim, whom some of you guys still call God, called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So understand that we don't normally say good morning because you don't know where that term derived from. It actually means pain. All they did was drop the U out of it. Okay? Back in historical times, they used to hurt the slaves or the captured ones or the hidden ones, whether they sold them or killed them to their family, just to bring them more anguish. They used to simply say, well, good. Did you have a good morning? That term also in dramatic error, Guten Tag, is pro-dramatic. But remember, your translation is over in English. Go look it up. Also in Genesis 1:14, and Yahuwah El Elohim, Yah, said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. One is going to rule the day, and the other one's going to rule the night, to divide the light and the darkness. And Yah saw it was good. So we automatically know that that light in today's modern day English is called the moon that rules the night. It's like a change of command. And we know the day, that light is what they call the sun, the sun, that rules the day. So when you go down towards Shabbat from Friday night to Saturday night, there's a change of command. One is taking over authority, and the other is relinquishing authority. I can't get no simpler than that. Over here in Numbers 10:10. So also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifice of your peace offerings, that they may be to yourselves or you for a memorial before Yah El Elohim, Yah, or some say God. I am the master, your Yah, your El Elohim. El Elohim means what you would call the deity above all of them. So when we reference to Yah, he's one. Elohim is plural. El Elohim means the one above them all. So that's what that means. El is singular, Elohim is plural. So today, as you're about to find out, it's a little after 11 p.m. on the 21st of April, 2024. That's when I'm recording this. So you're going to find out when, surprise, according to the tools, when Passover start and when the first of the year start for the actual Israelites. Why am I doing this? Because in the book of Zephaniah, Philippians, 1 Corinthians, and Ephesians. So Zephaniah, Corinthians, Rishon, and Ephesim. Ephesians, Corinthians, Philippians, Zephaniah. When Yah comes back, when Jesus, Yeshua, the Hamashiach comes back, we're all going to have one mind, one body, one voice. So I put this in here because we should be striving to be closer together in the onsets. You have a lot of different other people, a lot of ethics. They get together. So we should be doing the same thing. And there's a lot of division because no one wants to come together and build. Everybody wants to be out there all by themselves. Okay, I didn't grow up that way. I wasn't reared that way. And I'm using languages that you can understand because as a linguist and a researcher who had to be adequate and accurate all the time, I got to watch my words. But I got to be able to speak to those who can hear. So these scriptures are simply meaning coming together as one. What should we be doing now and what we're going to be doing in the future, especially when Yeshua comes back? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because you guys can read this for yourselves. Now, here in Shemot in Exodus 12, the reason why I put this here is because some of you don't know where it's at. And your questions are based upon the fact that either you're coming from Christianity or you're just learning or you're in the middle or you've just been listening to other people teach and preach and you haven't looked at it yourselves. What the Exodus was about, what the Passover is all about. So I put this here so you can actually go and read it for yourselves. Okay. Now, here we can start right at number 5. Okay. About Exodus and how the meat should be cooked and instructions. These are basic instructions. So your lamb shall be without blemish. A male, that's a male. Okay. A man cannot be a male. So a male is an animal. Of the first year, ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, another term for kid. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole multitude of the assembly of Yasharel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood, and strike it on the two side posts, on the upper doorposts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. So back in the day, you had to kill your own food. You had to process your own food. But during this time frame, the ones without blemish, the blood was used so that the death angel or that death spirit was not coming in to kill that firstborn. It didn't matter what kind it was, that firstborn was going to perish if you did not put that blood up on those posts. Now, during Passover, that blood, it should be above upon your own doors of your own hearts now. Some of you don't even get that. Because now you're the living temple. If you didn't know that, you're the living temple. So this Passover and where you're located now should be where you're located. And if you don't believe you're the living temple, go search in your Google searches and find out who is the living temple. Where Yah, Jesus, Yeshua, the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh dwells. Look that up. This is a short answering session. It's not a teaching or preaching today. This is to get to your answers and your questions very quickly, where you can find it, and to give you a little bit of homework. So the upper post and side post, that's number 7. Now number 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and matzah, and with bitter herbs. They shall eat it. So, and let's go to number 9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water. So you don't take your meat and put it in the water and boil it. You're not supposed to cook it that way. You're not supposed to boil it. Okay, that's what that means. You can't eat it raw, and you don't eat it full of water, which is boiling. Roast it. Put it on the fire. Make sure it's done. Conventional. Over a fire can have convection. So make sure it's done. There's convection techniques. So don't boil your lamb or your goats, whatever meat is available. They let you know that right there in number 5. Okay, so continuing with number 9. But roast with fire his head and his legs and the puritance thereof. And ye shall, now here's the thing that most people don't get, number 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remains of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. We're talking about the flesh. And number 11 says, and thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, clothed, your shoes on your feet. Some of you don't even have a staff. If you're that direct into it, in your hand, and ye shall eat it haste. It is Yah's Pesach. That means you should be eating this meal fast. Because they were moving fast. They were getting out of the way. And number 12 will identify what I was speaking about earlier. Now, that's part of the Exodus. That's all part of the Passover as well that we just went through. And unleavened bread. Just that simple, just that quick. But what you're missing here, sometimes you need to understand that you have to be ready to take a Passover. You have to put your mind and your fasting and your prayers and everything into a certain state. This is why you're supposed to get the leaven out of not only your house and your homes, also the wickedness, the stuff out of your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit. Don't come into a Passover with contention. It's not yours, it's Yah's. So, telling him Psalms 81. A lot of people get confused with some of the evidence of when you should be taking a Passover and when is the first new moon is what they keep saying there in number 3. But translation should tell you no moon. It clearly says there, blow the shofar on the dark new moon. That doesn't make sense. It should translate to the dark no moon. Today in our solemn fast. That means in a day like today on a Passover, you should be blowing your shofar. You should be blowing a horn. But the beginning of your months is no new moon. That means you won't be able to see the moon. Not even a sliver, not a crescent, none of those. It should be dark up there. In the northern hemisphere is where I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you 3 tools that you guys can use. 3 of them. I mean, 2 or more witnesses. They confederate against us. And they do it very well. So after today, there should be no confusion when the new moon is. There should be no more confusion when the new year starts. And the seasons are pretty much the same. We know the mid-March of every year, the beginning of spring. It's mid-March. Not beforehand. It's early as the 19th. A couple days to the left, and maybe a couple days to the right, depending on what year time frame you're in. But it should be in a tolerance of about 3 days, which means you might have spring as early as the end of an 18th into the 19th, which is pretty rare. But most of the time, you're going to have it in between the night of the 19th or the 20th or the 21st of every year. And it will slide here and there within a tolerance of 2.5 to 3 days, which is the proper calculation. Anything beyond that, there might be an issue. So it's within tolerance of about 3 days. So consistently is around the end of the 20th or the 21st. Lands on the 20th. So it should not stretch no more than the 18th of every month. If you have a lunar calendar within that calculation. So just be aware of that. It must land within those 3 days. That is the calculations for hundreds of years. Hundreds, thousands of years. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 43. Great is Yah that made it, and as his commandment runs hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. So we use this as a tool here in Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. We know during certain feast days that this moon is going to go dark. And we know early in the Genesis that the sun and the moon has its place. It will be a dark moon at the beginning of each month, not a full moon. It'll be a dark moon, one that you cannot see. It's simple math. Are some of the interpretation a little confusing? Maybe. But don't get confused between new and no moon. They mean the same thing. If you want to make an argument for a full moon, go right ahead. The calculations don't support a new moon of a full moon. Let me say that again. A full moon is not the no moon or new moon. No matter how you try to flip these scriptures, it's not going to work. It's mathematics. And that season has to be within tolerance. So some of you are having New Year in the winter, or so-called the winter solstice. And some of your calculations off, or some are in Israel. Some of you guys are having Southern Hemisphere calculations. Again, you're the living temple, so where that temple is, calculate appropriately. So, when is New Year's 2024? It was April 8th. How do we know? Let's find out. Okay, so what's in front of you is the Yahudi Ministries calendar for 2024. So, to calculate this, we use 3 different instruments. Okay, down here we use time and date, moonconnection.com. We'll show you these things, and thealmanac.com. So in 2024, we had an overlap from 2023, which is correct, which means you had an extra month. So here in this calendar, 2024, January will be your 11th month from 2023. It moves over because it's a lunar calendar. Remember, the feasts are based on the month, right, of that moon lunar day. So this dark circle right here for February will be February the 9th. March 2024, you guys should have on your calendar a dark moon or no moon for March 10th. Spring begins here on the calendar, and it shows you it begins on the 19th, right? This week. So this week, the spring is beginning. That's the week of spring. April shows the new moon. Simply means no moon, which is the new year. And you should blow with trumpet. 14 days past that, you're going to have Passover, which will be the 21st at night. That 14 day begins that night, just like a regular Shabbat. The Shabbat begins at a night and then ends the following day. The same principle applies. It does not change. Night, day, not day, night. It's night, day. Same application. Feast of First Fruits starts the 27th that night, and it'll end the 28th the next night. Which in application, if we're using that, it would be the beginning of the 29th at the back end of this right here, where you see this cursor. So those are the proper calculations for 2024. Then, of course, you got May. the second Passover. If you didn't get to take the first Passover, there's a second Passover. Okay. You can look down here in the legend. And the legend will give you the information that you can go look this information up. Also down here as well. In the notes. The notes has the legend, and down here has the information as well for the second Passover. Same thing here. Pentecost is calculated. Okay, everything's here in the legend. It tells you exactly what it is, what month to observe. And then we get into August 2024, September 2024, October. Then we're in the Feast of Trumpets. We got Tabernacles. We got Day of Atonement. Or if you want to put in order, Trumpets, Day of Atonement, and Tabernacles. So you're saying, well, where are you getting these calculations from? Let me show you where I'm getting these calculations from. So this is Moon Connect. This is an application. Up here, you see it says March. Right here, it says March 2024. And the new moon here, it breaks it down. It tells you exactly where it is. That's the new moon. You're still in winter. We know the week, the latter part of the week of March, middle of March, the latter week, not the last, but the latter day of this whole week, 18, 19, 20, 21, in historical process, that's always when the calculation within 3 days is when you have spring for a mathematics point of view. So we know that the new moon or no moon, NM, you can't see it. Right? So then if we click to the right, then we see April 8th, no moon, commonly called the new moon. You can go all the way back to 2020, and then let's go to next year. This is 2024. Let's go to 2025. March 2025, we know that the midweek of the 18, 19, 20, 21 is spring. It's a pretty close calculation of mathematics. So then we know for 2025, over here, the new moon is the 29th. Or the no moon is the 29th of March. In the northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. Let's look at another tool. This is moon phase, time and date. Time and date, I put it there for Atlanta, Georgia. Northern Hemisphere 2024. Here are projections that are pretty much accurate. Your new moon or no moon, go outside and look if you see a moon on this first column right here. March 10th, April 8th, May 7th, June 6th. June 6th, July 5th, August 4th. So if this is correct with the other one that I showed you, then this, you come over here, click 2025, hit go, and March 29th should be your New Year's for next year, right here. Now here's the website for Moon Connection for the software I showed you guys here. This is where you get this application from. March 29th. Now, let's look at another one. So, Atlanta, Georgia, moon phases. This is the almanac.com. So, again, this is April 2024. Again, the new moon is on the 8th. Those three different tools. Of course, you can find other things to go against this if you want. But the no moon and new moon has been done this way for many years. And I have no problem teaching this method. The tools work. The math works. Where's your belief? Now, let's go to 2025. So we adjust the almanac. You can adjust it up here. 03. And we adjusted it to Atlanta 2025. According to this, the new moon is March 29th for 2025. And then you go to 2026 and 2027. We can go on and on and on. But if you want a clear distinction, 2026 is one that might confuse you guys. Because 2026, you're going to have March 18th, which is in the 3-day tolerance. April 17th for spring is a little late, so you got to look at the tolerance and the math. It is the week of spring. So for 2026, your new year should be March 18th. Because your next new moon or no moon is April 17th, which is outside of the math perspective. Most of the time, your calculations should be between mid to late March or in April if there's no lunar moon in that cycle. Because if I go to 2027, it will readjust itself to April 6th. Because we know March 10th, March 8th is outside of the spring calendar solstice process. So in 2027, your new year will be April 6th. So now you've got 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027 because the math works. All they did was take the math and automate it. That's all they did. It's on a 29.5 decimal 10 base system. So don't get confused. Print it out a couple of years. Go do the math. But your starting point is going to be your ending point. So you got 3 tools now that you can use to calculate. All right, so let's look at, so that's 2024. See, 2024 goes all the way down to the bottom. Am I going fast? Yes. Because this is not a full teaching. This is a simple question and answer session to get you ready to go. So the 11th month has a double moon in it on 2024, and it will readjust itself out in 2025. So if I go to 2025, then this is correct, because now the 29th would be the 11th month, which comes out of your 13th month from 2024. So February 2025 is your 12th month. So what does that make that on March? That's your new month. You should be blowing with trumpets on the 29th of March. So you should blow the horn on the 28th that night. And then the night of the 29th, on the ending of that Shabbat, you should be blowing the horn again, the trumpet. Hopefully that gives you some clarification on where you should be at in calculating. It's the same thing for the southern hemisphere. The only difference is your lunar cycles are going to be off. This is a teaching on the northern hemisphere. And you can base it off your southern hemisphere process if you take a look at it, depending on that cycle. You know your seasons, you know your moons, then you can calculate the feast days. So why am I teaching this? Because there's a lot of confusion. Okay? So now you have certain aspects of what to look for. And remember, it's another Shabbat. It's a high Shabbat. The same application applies. Night to day is one day. If you go back and look in the book of Genesis. Psalms, Telahim, behold, you the house of Israel, desire truth in your inward parts, and in the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Proverbs 4:23, keep guard thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So again, I hope this quick lesson you can follow. You can grab the tools. I'll probably leave the tools down there in the description box on both channels, like the Yahudi Ministries channel and the Officer Wolfline channel. So that way you can have access to those links so you can no longer be confused. Hidden ones. Do you know who you are, hidden ones? Do you know the difference between the right and the left, or the left and the right? Especially in these court systems. I encourage you to look up Public Law 97-280. Global Chat Daddy, we're working on it. We're getting everything worked out. Kinks worked out. It's up and running. We moved everything from our old server to our new server. And YahudiMinistries.com and OfficerWolfline.com. The OfficerWolfline.com, we're revamping it. We're working on everything. So the Facebook, the YouTube for the Officer Wolfline is up. And we're bringing everything on board for Yahudi Ministries as well. So you can go over there to the Officer Wolfline, like, subscribe as you wish, and look for Yahudi Ministries. The information is coming up. That matter of fact, this video will be on that YouTube channel. And then once everything is prepared onto the new server in proper order, it'll be on not only just the Global Chat Daddy information will be there, but the Global Tube Daddy as well. All right, look for us. We're going to be doing some more of these so you guys can get edification. All right, thanks for your questions. And for those who are taking Passover today, shalom. And if I didn't get to meet you guys during the week of April 8th, still Happy New Year to you guys as well.